Professor, I kindly beg you to come and speak to us.
I discovered that I had not greeted a very special friend, so I had to pass like this and go and greet her. So that was, if I did not do that, then all the impetus would disappear. Thank you very much. Our Pro-Chancellor, all the invited friends and colleagues that have come to participate in this occasion, thank you very much for being here. When I was figuring out how to organize in a most fitting, solemn, but also glorifying and spectacular way the installation of the new Vice Chancellor, I did not contemplate, it didn't occur to me that there would be an occasion like this. So this event is the outcome of the VC and the Management Board and the Council, and I'm very happy that they came up with this because they gave me an opportunity to be a chief guest and also to link up with very many of my valued friends. There are people here that mean a lot to me as friends. People I've worked with and people I've known in my academic life, but especially in trying to fulfill what Strathmore should be. So thank you very much, Bwana VC and the MB and the University Council and your team for organizing this fitting event. Thank you very much. I am going to be making remarks, and from time to time I'll refer to some of these friends because the face of my life within Strathmore is interlinked, interconnected, and interlocked with some of these people in a very interesting way, as I'll try to do. But let me start by, there are many things that when you work with somebody, you get to know. Like if you talk to Roslyn Lubelela, when I saw her first, she didn't have any gray hair. Or if you talk to Angelica Kiboro, they'll tell you everything because we have been very close friends since I came here. But they don't know everything. So I will pick one of the things that they don't know and start by telling you that VC is in university terms is a high level. Where is my friend Professor Kiamba? He's gone. Yeah, I would not be fulfilled if he's not here. I'm so happy he's here. This man is very special to me. Now, my original, he does not know this, but he's, as somebody does, he knows what you need to know about me as a professional and as a good person, not as a bad one. My original view about administration, that I would be a head of a department, I would be a dean, I would be a director of anything in a university. This is my original view. That I thought, because I have never worked outside university, so my reference is only within the university context. I formed the view, very firm view, well considered, in all honesty and fairness, that for you to be identified by your VC or superior, to get you to be head of department or dean or director or even rise to deputy something, was that they have finally discovered that your coefficient of thickness is very close to 1. People, so there are a few people in Strathmore that you can describe in biblical way or philosophical way as type of Odhiambo. You see the way you type of Christ. So if you look around this environment, you meet a small bright lady Elizabeth, that's a type of Odhiambo. If you meet somebody like Ruth Kiraka, that's a type of Odhiambo. There are not many around here, but it's very special that now those, they may know what I'm talking about, that it's kind of a discovery that your thickness coefficient is very close to 1, because it's a number between 0 and 1, and the closer to 1 it is, yeah, that was my original view. So I resisted and stayed away from any possibility of ever participating in any administrative work in my beloved University of Nairobi. I preferred to present my academic colleagues in Senate, and that's what I did. I would represent my college professors in Senate and articulate their rights, privileges, powers. Yeah. So when finally, in our administrative system at Nairobi, when the predecessor of Professor Kiamba's VC finally, through his network, was convinced that I think we need to get this guy to get involved. I was already, I think, an associate professor or something. So I was approached and given an appointment letter. So I respected the VC very much. I normally do. So I took it back and said with respect that, no, this is something completely outside my abilities. So then, because I knew I couldn't do it, and then I was wondering, now finally, my thickness coefficient has been found to be very close to 1, which I thought I was okay now. But I had a teacher, my teacher, I have here my students, just to show that I have some background. But I also wanted my teacher who taught me in year 1. I joined first year. Charles, you are very far then. You are in the mind of God probably. 73, I was in first year. And I came full of mathematics. I thought I knew a lot. Then this man taught me, first year he taught me real analysis. I discovered exactly where I belong. I discovered that actually the fullness that I came with was very close to emptiness. So I spoke to that man. I told him, imagine Walimu, that the VC is asking me to be head of the department. This is absolutely. Then I told him my misgivings. Then that man never talks. I'm talking about Achola here, and even Professor Oyema knows Achola. He told me, no, he doesn't talk much, and he will give you very discreet advice. He told me, the thing ailing our department of mathematics, which was as big as a college, we taught everywhere, And Professor Odhiambo will tell you, he was saying that we were teaching mathematics everywhere. When the onset of parallel came, I discovered that, and Waema knows this very well. I said, we are everywhere. In medicine, engineering, architecture, building, kila mahali, we must be the richest. So I said, intellectual property right. Patricia, I claimed my intellectual. So wherever there was mathematics, I declared ownership. So you pay for it. Christmas camp, that's what I did. So we became very, moneyed. But he told me, there are certain things you could do. So he convinced me that rather than stay away, I could correct the things that were bothering me, things like corruption, things like laziness, things like incompetence, things like not doing research, things, by being there. Because I was talking to people who were also praying at the same time. I don't think I was praying now, but I was talking to people who prayed a lot. When I spoke with them, they gave me further advice and said, you could do it. So I agreed. to get. That's how I came to. So it's a kind of a real changeover, because I saw. That's why I had to declare. I had to declare in my own space that here I am, Lord, you have called me. So I gave up myself. So it was not by choice, it was not anything I desired, it was not. So coming Strathmore was on the second level. The first level was to get me ever to be interested in administration. At the University of Nairobi, that brought me up, that made me Odhiambo, that I am overly and eternally proud of. That is my genuine story. Then the idea of coming to Strathmore came about. The earlier story is preceding even before Strathmore, the college part, the professional part, the accountancy and IT moving here, because when Joe came, then IT started developing, and then it moved here together with accountancy. And before even they moved in 1993, before that we had an earlier predecessor of Father Silvano. He was called Father Joseph Juran. He was even before Father Albert. There was we used to call them chancellor or vicar, but he was the head of Opus Dei in East Africa or in Kenya. So he told me, John, I want you to start praying and working toward starting a university. We didn't name it, but he said, now we have to develop a university. So I saw that as something very important. I started praying and mobilizing people that could work. So there were two aspects. There was the academic aspect. How do you develop the academic aspect that will get us? At that time, Professor Joseph Mungai was in chair. So how do we get approved some way up there so that we can get license to get a university? But also you needed money to build it. So the late Father Alphonse, and there is also a late Mzee called Joseph Gidongo, the father of John Gidongo, was my friend. We were not age mates. He was by far my senior. He was the age mate of Kibaki and people like that. So I gave him the role. Now you are going to mobilize all those wazees that have money, because me, I have only academic. So your job is to mobilize them. That's what he used to do. People like Harry Mule, Kibaki, the people of that type. That was his job. So we spent days and hours, several, praying and doing excursions along Rimuru, those forests, Kinari, Kila Mahali. Joseph Gidongo would go to Mombasa and bring big mangoes for our lunch. So we were praying. That is what preceded even the concept of the college moving to Madaraka as a college. That was going on. I was with my old friend and with Father Alphonse always doing this. And then the academic side, I had already brought on board a friend of mine a senior friend of mine called Professor Peter Kobonyo is here. He's here. Even his daughter did BCom here. He's doing BCom here. I was telling him, man, I've been given an assignment here. Can we find a way of identifying good people who mean business in academics so that they advise me on how to come up with the... So this is my day, so I'm have to give you these stories. So that's how the Strathmore concept started circulating in my mind. At that time, Caesar was a very young man. In fact, I was praying for him. He was studying. I knew he was doing masters and we were going to do PhD. Father also assured me, this is a bright man. I even had a book of statistics that he took from you and gave me to... I'll bring it back to you. That's why I've been praying for you for decades. So when you became the dean of SBS, I said, now my God, the angel has started working. So Peter Kobonyo was working with me. Now Peter, my story with Peter is very also exciting. This fellow, I went to St. Mary's School Yala when it was a proper real school. And I did 6 years there, from 1 to 4 and from 5 to 6. Then when I was preparing for my Cambridge, so that is from 1 to 4, so from 3 and 4, so Peter, he came to do A-level. He studied at Nairobi, Aquinas, Nairobi. I know his history. He does not know that I do. Then he came to Yala to do his A-level. Now, in that school, the A-level guys were our seniors. They used to wear a blazer and a long trouser. We used to wear pair of shorts. Under the cool, it was the same. We had to wear terrain, and we never used some of this ordinary stuff in our school. But they had a long trouser and a blazer and a tie. For us, we didn't need that, but we were very... So they used to come during prep in the evening after dinner to supervise us, to sit there so that we don't make noise. So Peter would come to our class, sit in front there. He's studying, and this A-level guy had big books. So I used to enjoy mathematics and physics, and those things were easy, so I would get there. So when we come to do prep, in about 20 minutes, I've already finished everything. So I now have the urge to go and teach my classmates. So that's now Peter, their job was to stop things like that. So they would tell me, no, young man, go back to your desk and go and work. But he would not do that. He would just smile and take his books and go now to work in there. They had a special library. So he's the one I was working with on the pre-Strathmore thing, together with Joseph Gidongo, Amuze, Father Alphonse, who was... We said many rosaries. I was doing that out of obedience and love of what God called me to do. I didn't know. I didn't have a clue where that would lead to. You understand? Yeah. Then the college moved here in 1993. Things started happening and so on. Charles also was a great friend of mine. We used to talk very often. So I know this, he used to pass by Chiromo to talk to me. He would come. And McPhee was very mischievous. He would come from Riverside, from Strathmore School where he used to live, Strathmore House, driving. And he knows that if he goes now, he had to go through rivers and go to West London like this. He knew that there's traffic. Say, no, Professor Odhiambo is here. So I cannot go. See, he wants to pass through. There was restriction. You don't pass through our gate, enter through them. If you didn't have a university tag, pass, He didn't have. So he said, no, I have an appointment to see Professor Odhiambo, must see him. He did that almost, and he dashes through. He doesn't stop even to. But Charles Sauce was coming. He would come to. Charles come, we would enter and we talk. So one of these days, after we've been talking for many, he started talking about this thing of Strathmore and how they want to work with Jomo Kenyatta to start and then become a university. So they want to prepare a proposal and so on. So that is where my problem started. That's the man that talked to me into Charles' thoughts. He does not speak too much, but he knows how to speak. So he spoke with me, so she convinced me. And you know, when he was doing this, I was already now had accepted administration, and people like my friend Christopher Kemba here had known me now, and I was beginning to get many networks and linkages, and I thought, now I'm a full professor, I've just made a breakthrough. I no longer need to depend on the salary because I'm bringing in a lot of grants and so on, from which I can fund the department, but also fund I was building a library, a computer lab, and so on. So I had a Africa-wide project funded by Rockefeller. So I was feeling like a real professor. Patricia knows this. That's how professors, that's what they do. And then just thoughts comes with this idea. I had to think carefully because I had made a breakthrough. So I really wondered, what does all this mean? But he was very clever. He told me, no, John. He used to call me John. He calls me John up to now. So he told, no, you can start by just taking a brief break. You come and see. So I said, fine, I'll take sabbatical because I was due. So I took sabbatical during my second term as chair before I completed it for 1 year. I think it was 9 months. It completed, my sabbatical ended on, it started on 2001, but 2002, 30th April, it was finished. I was meant to go back to University of Nairobi. What did I do during that sabbatical? During that sabbatical, I worked on the proposal that we were to take to chair, it was called chair then, to seek permission or certification to operate as a university. It's called interim letter. So that's the work that I did. We prepared this and submitted the proposal. In fact, I remember the evening before we submitted, because they were urgent, they knew we were ready, so they wanted us to submit it. I remember I was sitting somewhere where Roslyn used to teach us. We were sitting in a certain room with David Sperling. He's here. We shared it. I think now Rachel or Emma sits there. So we were separated by a long cabinet like this. We shared the phone, you see. So I sat this side, David Sperling sat there. Now this man, to reach the phone, he just does that. And me, I needed a bit more effort, isn't it? Read the phone. So I was working from there. Now, during those, Strathmore was way advanced technologically. But you know what? Nobody here had a laptop. We had only desktops. And we were doing very well because nobody had a working internet anywhere anyway. The Africa Online were beginning to, but there was no. Strathmore had that you could send emails from here. So when they started this rubbish of ranking with this internet ranking, when it started, it was very rudimentary. And even them, they're now improved. They've now included many more things. And Odhiambo will attest this. Now they have improved. They capture more information. At the beginning, we were ranking top. Not that we did anything, just because there was nobody else. You see, so the secretary of the principal, Charles also the principal of this place, his secretary, Mrs. Kimanthi, Dorina and Eva know her very well. She was the secretary to she replaced an earlier one, but when I came, she was. So when Charles made her help me to work on the proposal. So the last night before we submitted, this thing we were expected at chair at 8 a.m. Chair used to be in town, not where they are. They used to be somewhere down near Development House or someplace. So we worked here. Now I had to proofread this thing and take to her. Now you see, it was at night. So we were sitting almost 500 meters apart, because first of all, at night, a man and a woman, you can't go on working too. So that was clear. That's the first thing. So she would work, then print it, bring it. You could not send it online because we didn't have that. So you should bring it, I proofread, then take back. We worked like that until about 9 or 10 p.m. At that time, Mr. Kimanthi, who used to work with Standard newspapers, was waiting in his car outside there because I was working with his wife inside here. So we finished, and then we handed it over to. We used to have a very good printing. You maybe remember there was a big guy there. Everyone remember there's a fellow there. They were very active. The printing was they were printing real things. So we gave it, they printed in the morning, it was ready. So we submitted. According to me, my work was done. And my sabbatical was coming to an end. So I actually went back to our place. I went back promptly to Nairobi back. And I even promoted some people. So when now the chair then was in a hurry to give us this thing, we were ready when anyway we were over. So they gave us the letter on 22nd August 2002.